we're going to be going through the 2018 CrossFit Games. We're going to go through each workout and how, I guess, it kind of played out.
And we'll present it to you by WODProof app. So, starting off with Wednesday, or do you want to start off earlier? We'll go off on the check-in day. Does that anything happen there?
Well, I mean, you know, that was pretty cool because my parents were coming for the first time this year, so going and picking them up from the airport, I think at midnight. Is that what time?
Yeah, that was unique. Yeah, so I actually picked them up while Tia was sleeping, getting ready, cramming in those last few hours of sleep before we get sleep deprived for the rest of the weekend.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was cool. Hey, so I think that led us. Let's fast forward to what? Tuesday when they did the announcements for workouts for you guys, when it was sort of closed off for you guys only.
So
for athletes only.
Yeah, we then basically we had a dinner with Dave Castro, and that's where he actually announced the marathon row. And once he announced that, James and I, all we wanted to do was just get back here and jump in the car with you, hey, so that we could kind of just start debriefing and figuring out what our game plan was.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Yeah, because I think I recall getting a text message during the dinner about hey, there's a marathon, and then I saw the 3 dots on the iMessenger row. Because at first instant there, I thought it was a run because in lead up to the games we did a marathon run, just to obviously have that stimulus effect of what it would be like to then train or then to replicate the games.
Yeah.
But anyway, but nothing.
Feel that time zone.
Yeah. And then, well, anyway, let's go to Wednesday. So, would you have it go to Wednesday?
Yeah.
So Wednesday, there was the crits race. There was the 10 laps around, I don't even know what that arena's called, but around, I was going to say StubHub, but that'd be very irrelevant at this stage. But,
yeah, so it was just like a track at the games and basically 10 laps. So it was on Tuesday that we had like a time trial and we had to race and do a time trial and see how fast we could get. So our goal was obviously to get one of the top times so that I could be right in the front, and I managed to do that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, because they opened up for the crowd to come in and watch and then just go through that sequence. So that, I think you finished
8.
8. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So the rows was every 5.
No, it was every 8. So you had like 8 people in the first row, 8 in the second. So I was on the outside. At least I still was in that first row, so I didn't have to battle trying to get out when it came to Wednesday. So we're in somewhat of a good position. It could have been better.
Well, actually, I thought about it. The outside lane is quite good. You sort of keep everyone to your right. I thought it was a great position.
Yeah.
Well played on coming 8.
I was pretty happy with that. So looking at the time though, when it came to the crits, throughout the workout, I felt like just due to the experience that other athletes had with riding on a bike and I suppose doing the crits race, it was a little nerve-wracking to make moves. So I know I held back quite a bit when it came to those first earlier rounds, and then as everyone was kind of spreading out a little bit, then we started to try and make a move, and I managed to come 5th, so I jumped 3 places since my time trial. Yeah. So like we were happy with that, weren't we?
Yeah, I think that was a great result given obviously like you just mentioned where we were at 12 months prior.
Yeah.
I know we did ride a bike and you've ridden a bike in the past with triathlons and all those practices and all that growing up.
Never did crits race though.
That's true. But what I thought was remarkable from the coaching point of view or from a programming point of view was the dynamics of having a congested area. It was sort of like having all the athletes not in particular lanes where their interaction would obviously impact your placing or have that pressure on you to sort of maneuver yourself around. So I think when we spoke about it, that was sort of a big concern, I'm sure, for other coaches and for a lot of the athletes. Hitting each other was a concern as well because it's event 1 and the last thing you want to do is come off your bike, and that happened for the men.
That's right.
And that was one of those ones where you had to be very cautious but you still have to put the foot down as
Yeah,
well.
be
So
aggressive.
there was a fine line, and you know, safety was sort of paramount above everything. So I thought it was a great test, given that doesn't come up much as well. So that's pretty much it for crit race event 1.
And I do remember you specifically saying, like, go out hard, because the next couple of workouts is so short and they don't require a lot of intensity. So it was kind of make sure that you leave nothing in the tank in a way.
You got that right. Cool. So that left for event 2.
Yep. So 30 event 2, 30 muscle ups for time. So going into that workout, we felt very confident that I could produce a really good time. And I mean, I wasn't really affected by the long straps. I definitely know that was something that some of the athletes felt like that was going to really play a huge effect on their performance. But for us, it didn't. Like, I don't remember being concerned about that. Do you?
No, so I don't think the straps were affected. We mentioned that because I don't know if you watched any of the videos.
It was very windy.
But it was very windy, and then you could just see the rings just swing in the breeze, right? So, I mean, it was obviously a concern from a coaching point of view. Like, that's just a nightmare for it to happen. However, it wasn't, once you were up, it wasn't a concern of us. Just given that we've factored that into the training as well. Like, the beauty of the CrossFit Mayhem, they have the rings are so long as well. Sorry, the straps. And Cross Victorian, they've got these long straps as well. So we've utilised them when we're in the space. Yeah, but I think Castro announced this event prior to the game, so we had, I think everyone had the heads up on this event. So we obviously practiced this as well in training. We thought originally it was going to be in a vest, so we played with that, and that was interesting enough, to say the least. And when we found out it was just 30 straight muscle ups for times, it was great.
It was like, just go for it, wasn't it?
Yeah, so when we did practice it though, it was shorter straps and it was faster. We knew that going to games, that obviously it'll be different. We didn't know what event 1 was, and the stimulus would be quite different with longer straps, and then obviously running the finish line, factored everything in. It was a bit slower, but overall it was a great result. It was second. Yeah. Were you happy with that?
I mean, this is no disrespect to any of my competitors, but I wasn't happy with second. I would have liked to have gotten first, and I think that's just because I know I was a second off. So what that tells me is it came down to my fast reaction from getting off the rings, crossing the line, and Christy was just better than me on that day. And
Christy.
and she deserves number 1, but for me, it kind of ate me up a little bit, thinking that, oh damn it, I just gave some points away.
Yeah.
But I broke those muscle ups into 20, 6 and 4. So they'll come. That it wasn't that I went too hard in my first set at all. I was very happy with how I broke them up. I broke them up, making sure that I wasn't going to get any no reps.
Yeah.
And I just didn't jump off the rings fast enough to catch her on the line.
Yeah, so that was awesome. I think that left, at this point in time, we had a 5th and a 2nd place after the first 2 events, which is a phenomenal start. Like, again, we don't look at leaderboards at this point.
And isn't it crazy? So basically, we had to warm up for 30 muscle ups for time, and also we had to talk about our strategy for the total. Because remember, when we went out for our muscle ups, we were staying in the warm up area, and I wasn't actually going to come back and see you.
Yeah.
So we actually we had to just prep for both those workouts. So going on to event 3, the CrossFit Total, as soon as I finished my muscle ups, I went straight back out and started putting on my weightlifting gear and started warming up. I started warming up my deadlifts, then my strict press, then my back squat, because the back squat was going to be the first movement out on the field.
So you did in reverse order,
Yeah, and that was an interesting thing, because like, I had been working with pounds leading into the games because we're in America, but I also didn't feel super confident converting kilos and pounds, and especially in that time cap of like 4 minutes. So that was quite an intense situation.
Yeah, given what was riding on the back of it. So Like Tia mentioned, the reason why it was a quick turnaround from the 30 muscle ups to the CrossFit total was a limited access for us to be together. So that it just not difficult, it's just what it is, and what's great about it, like everyone's in the same position, but it was just, I mean, as you look back at the videos, you'll see that Tia has this cheat sheet on her arm.
Yeah.
Some people I think made mention that it was a tattoo, but no, she didn't get any married tattoos put on that time. It was just her weights put in pounds, so that when she got out there on the floor, she could just put the weights on and just look at her forearm and then just go from there. So that was...
The last thing that we want to do is, obviously in such an intense situation, create, you know, it more difficult for me. Yeah. So like I can look at my arm or my water bottle. Remember we had stickers on my water bottle. And I can just slap those weights on rather than thinking like, oh man, like, you know, how much does this all equal up to? And so, and I actually failed my first back squat. Remember that? That was intense.
I was there. Yeah. No, yeah, that was a bit of a heart drop, wasn't it, that particular time?
I don't even know how or why I failed it, and the only reason that I can think of was simply because the time, even though I felt like I still stayed warm, I was still moving around in the corrals. I think it was such a long period between getting called and having my last warm-up squat to actually performing a back squat.
Yeah.
That my body, it was just a little shock to the system. So having to kind of readjust, strip my bar off, put my weights back on, and then actually successfully lift it was, it was just a simple mistake that could have cost me the CrossFit Games.
Well, yeah, at the point of time, Tia didn't know that if you fail or
if you never got a weight,
successful lift, at least in in any part of it, you'd be removed from CrossFit Games. So that was probably
and you couldn't go back and weight.
Yeah, and
you had to stay to the weight that you had.
So Tia never knew any of this doing this whole entire event, because she was just sort of obviously caught up in the moment, and there's little things that you should know, but at the same time,
I think what it is I know, like I've been told that. It wasn't that I wasn't told it. Like I was told that, like in like when we were getting briefed and everything, but it's just not something that I took on board, because I just assumed that I would be able to make those weights, you know?
Yeah. I think what I was going to say, I was also going to mention that, you know, when selecting the weights, we went in there cautiously, factoring in the wait time. Like when we train for scenarios like this, we factor in, 5-10 minute cool down, then hit another lift. Yeah. And we play around with that leading to the games, but we don't spend too much time on that. But Tia went in there quite conservative. We aimed for 85% of your 1 RM, but when we converted into pounds, it worked out to be 87 when it was a neat number. So then we went in there with about 87% of a 1 RM, and then I forget, let's do the jumps, but it wasn't to PR your back squat. Like that wasn't the goal. Like you don't
secure a solid lift.
Yeah, you don't. We believed that it wouldn't win you the event by PRing off the bat on your back squat, being aggressive there, right? So then I led into strict press. Strict press went well. Quickly
took my shoes off. I
remember that. Transition. Yeah. Obviously you walk forward, and a lot of the ladies are quite strong in their shoulders. Hats off to them. Great job. But we knew that this would, out of the 3, this would be the one where Tia would have to make a round or perform your best, right? Yeah. And then anyway, you got 2 out of the 3 there. Yeah. Which is good. Like for us, you hit the minimum number which we wanted to achieve when you did that. And then the deadlifts. The deadlift was, because we missed out on one of the back squats to go heavier for the 3rd lift, right? And then
we didn't go as heavy in the back squat, so I made up for it in the deadlifts.
Exactly right. So that was obviously the plan. That was the plan to go through with it. Like, so because we missed one in the back squat and one in the strict press, it removed, I think, 5 to 10 pounds total of where we wanted to be that particular time. So Tia being Tia, she just added them on top, plus some, I think it worked out to be, just given where the field was.
Yeah, I think what I actually did was I just started to get quite furious and like just started using the crowd, finally getting like super G'd up, and just slapped more and more weight on, because the weight felt so light that I was like, I'm at the CrossFit Games, stuff it, like bring it on. So I just kept slapping those weights on, and I felt like I could actually go and lift more, but it was, you know, I had 3 lifts and I was on my last one. So that was a pretty epic moment, I must admit, because even just now I can kind of feel those raw emotions that I was having. And I remember specifically, so like depending on the workouts, I kind of know where everyone is in the crowd. So like if mum and dad are there, if Shane's over here on my right, and then I've got Sam and Trav on my left, like I know, like, you know, where everyone roughly is. For this one, I knew that they were right in front of me and I could just see them. They were all yelling and cheering me on. And at that stage, Shane had run back from the back squat section all the way around so that I could fully see him in view as well. And so just seeing them kind of made me more excited as well. And it was funny because there was one moment there where I looked up and there's my dad, and he had no shirt on. And he was like, just like, he had a hat on, had no shirt on, and you could just see him like just cheering so loud. And for me, that was just such a memory that I'm always going to cherish, because like that's so my dad, like never has his shirt on back at home. And like he was really getting in on the whole experience at the CrossFit Games, which was so cool. And that even fired me up even more. So like that was a thing, like just a memory that I'll always cherish. And I think that that's also what kind of wanted me to go even heavier.
Yeah, no, it was cool. I thought that was pretty cool, because
really cool.
Where we were located, we were so close to you as well. Like,
yeah,
as you progressed forward through the 3 stages, back squat, strict press, deadlift, you're obviously getting closer to where we were too. So we just felt like it was getting, I don't know, just building up.
I could hear you guys so clearly too, and I was just like, yeah, you want some? Yeah, come get some. It was awesome.
Good reference. Yeah, that was cool. So that event finished your first overall, which was obviously a phenomenal achievement in a lot of respects, given, well, for me anyway. I think from when we look at the field as well, the caliber of athletes and the strength that they possess or they have, and then you compare size or weight ratio, for me that's a massive achievement, or a massive, I think you should be applauded for that as well, given obviously the ratio factor as well. But I understand CrossFit's not about that, but when you break down every individual event, you should look at these achievements as well, which is phenomenal. And I think that's great, given from a 30 muscle ups to a CrossFit total, 2 different spectrums, and quite great results. You know, so I think that's really cool from a coaching point of view. That's cool.
Well, so like the marathon row, like this was cool. Like I must admit, when you think a marathon row, you just think like, ugh, like how boring. But I was actually pretty honoured to have been at the CrossFit Games and been a part of this marathon row, because I feel like this is an event that's going to stick around and it's actually going to make history. That, hey, like,
for what? For the expectation? Or like
just like at the CrossFit Games, they rode a marathon row, and I was a part of that, because I remember in 2013, we're only just getting into CrossFit, and we weren't looking at or watching the CrossFit Games at that time, but years after 2013, I've often heard about how the athletes rode a half marathon. Yeah. It was something that kind of came up all the time. And I was like, I was never a part of that. But this one, I was a part of it. And having to row for that long was not so daunting, because you also have 80 other athletes doing it with you. And when I was doing the row, I could just hear my parents and Shane, and I could see Trav, Will, Nari, and Kerry in the front. They were on the opposite side of where I was. So you guys were just behind me, and I could really hear you clear as day.
My brother rocked up late as well.
That's right.
And Pat was with his
crew. He was actually over in the other side. So I could hear, like, you go Tia kind of thing, and I can tell their voices, but I could see Trav and Kerry and Nari in front of me.
Oh, there you go. I didn't know that.
Yeah. And then I could hear you on one side and I could hear mum and dad on the other. And I remember dad saying like, oh, I just wanted to make sure that you could hear me. So I kept saying, go Tia-Clair. And then that way, like he knew, or he thought that I knew it was him, because like no one else is going to call me Tia-Clair. But it was funny, as I'm rowing, you know, everyone's voices are just like, they're so strong. You can hear them super clear. And then as the row gets further and further along, 2 hours pass, 3 hours pass, the voices are fading. And I could hear my, like, dad especially, because his like voice was loud.
It'll stand out, give the Australian accent. Hey?
Yeah. And you could hear his voice was going.
It's breaking.
And I felt so bad. I wanted to turn around and be like, it's okay, Dad. I know you're cheering for me.
Yeah.
But don't, just save your voice.
Save it, we've got a long week ahead.
Yeah. And like, it was just like that was like an interesting thing, because like, I mean, it's just things that you don't realize. There were little things that kind of kept me in check, and hearing everyone, seeing everyone.
What, seeing the leaderboard or seeing your family?
Just seeing family, friends, like hearing you, because I remember you would always constantly check in, and you even gave me like these little, just little kind of motivational, like, I don't know.
Motivational speeches?
No, you just like, kind of would say,
goals?
like, keep going, Tia, like, good pace. Or like, I even remember you saying towards the end as well, like, all right, pick it up a little bit. And, you know, the last 12Ks, you're really hurting. And when you hear that, it's definitely helpful when you hear that and you know, hey, like, I've only got a little way to go.
Yeah, no, I think, well, for me, like, let's just say that for sport, I love sport, but one thing what I don't enjoy for sport is long, slow, boring sports. You know, I don't know. Obviously, I think I just get turned off from it, like literally turn off the TV from it. But for the row, like the idea of sitting down and watching people go back and forth on a rowing machine for 4+ hours, I don't know. I just feel like that would have been terrible. But when I got there,
I think we even said, I was like, guys, don't stick around. Like,
like,
go and do something.
Go watch a movie, come back.
Yeah.
But when I got there and I was part of it, I was like, man, this is awesome. Like, for I don't know, I keep saying from a coach point of view, even from a spectator, even from a husband, like just to be at an event for 4 hours, just watching it unfold. Yeah. The way they had the screen, and it just sort of kept you in check as well. Like, mini goals when they broke it down for the 42Ks, where you could just see where they are and their paces, which is phenomenal. Yeah. But remember the start where there was a false start because of the equipment? That's right. I remember seeing your hand come up early, and I was like, oh, the first screen's not working.
I know.
Because I remember.
Well, no, they always tell you to keep going, so I'm like this, and then everyone else's is, I'm like, oh, okay, so this is like a thing, so I'll just keep rowing, because that's all they say is like, if your machine stops, keep rowing. Yeah. And that was interesting. Because
that would have been hard to guess where you're at for 42Ks.
Oh, yeah.
It's not like this.
You know what was really hard is when the first male finished and I still had 6K to go. And I was like, ugh.
It's another half an hour.
It was torture, because I was like, man, he's killing it right now. And he's like just laying on the floor resting. And here I am, I still got 6Ks to go.
That's cool. But it was cool. I think that
we had a strategy of actually getting up and braking. Yep. And I didn't actually brake as often as what we had planned, did I? Because I realized that it wasn't going to be necessary.
No, you never.
But we wanted to do some damage control just for
it was big. Yeah, you're right. Because I think at that point in time, there was a limited amount of events announced, and there was a lot of uncertainties unknown. So we decided that we're going to break up.
It would cost me a little in placing, but...
Yeah, and that's how we looked at it. We not triage, but we factored in like, okay, if I bang up the body and go on the red on day one, in effort-wise, you know, like when you're putting yourself out there, on day one on an event like a marathon row, like, I just think that would have just been a negative effect throughout the whole entire weekend. And we spoke about this more in depth, or we spoke about it so we were on the same page, and you were happy enough to sort of, okay, cool, I will potentially sacrifice, because we didn't know how the field was going to go. time, but I will prioritize blood flow throughout my entire body, making sure I was hydrated and then eating well, because our big thing is that we want to be in a healthy position throughout as much of the weekend as possible, rather than starting off day one in a big deficit. Hey.
Yeah.
But having said that, we knew there was a rest day tomorrow, but we also didn't know if that was going to be the case. He didn't go, hey, surprise, meet me at the track at 5 p.m. But
I remember after that was like, all right, so we jumped straight in the ice bar.
Oh, and let's just say that everyone was in the ice bar.
Yeah, it was like we were all like kind of getting in the ice bath together, and I was like, Shane, get me some food. Well, you're pretty good at that. Like, you always have the food there, and I was like, you just tell Mum to get ready to massage me, because that's like, you know, she was there to give me a massage and rub down, like morning, night, whenever I wanted. So it was so convenient. Obviously, going in, having an ice bath, we actually went to the hot tub, remember? And like went and did like a cold to hot, relaxed the muscles a little bit, and then like got Mum to just fully rub out my glutes, because they were like sensitive.
Tender, sort of like, not like a bruise, but just sitting down for 4 hours driving, it's just the same effect, just not comfortable.
But it's funny because like I thought I'd be blistering up on the ankles. I thought I would be blistering up on my hands, everything. And I knew my bum would be sore, but it was like it was like they were bruised, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, it would be. But anyway, yeah, you're right.
Like it was just so it was incredible. And having done a marathon run in training prior to that, it was really cool to see the difference. Like, you weren't beat up or anything like you were on the run. Like the run, you couldn't move the next day. Like, it was crazy.
If you were where we were at a point in time, training for CrossFit Games, like if you're a marathon runner, it's not that bad.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah, so
I take my hat off to those athletes.
So the marathon result was, I believe 13th from memory, but I've just got a prompt card here. 14th, my apologies. 14th place, and I believe this is fortunately or unfortunately your worst finishing place, but again, we're not, at this particular point in time, we're not caught up in placings and where we are with the score on that. And the main reason for that is, I think Tia can elaborate more, but it's not healthy. It's not going to change anything at that particular time, and it's not going to change your effort applied in workouts ahead. So for instance, it's not going to be a drive. Oh, I just finished 14th. I'm in the slumps. I've got to put all in on the next one. It's like, no. As soon as 3, 2, 1 goes, you're just going to give it your best and try to follow your structured program and the way you're going to attack the workout in place. That's the mental check of a lot of things as well. The leaderboard, hey, would you say? Yeah.
So then we've got the battleground.
So cool. So we're in rest day.
Oh man.
Best day ever.
It was an honor. Let's just say that. Because rest day, we had the ceremony. It was a compulsory ceremony, and I was nominated the Australian flag bearer.
Okay, now I see the
honor. For me, that was huge. Like to be able to carry my country flag into the arena, it was just something that I was so proud of, and it was so unexpected as well. Like, I absolutely loved it, and I just remember just like flying that flag as hard as I could, so that, you know, like I wanted the Aussies to know that like we were representing them hard and like to the best of our abilities.
So yeah, disclaimer, I didn't make it in there because of the line. Remember the line?
Oh damn!
It was wait, you knew this, right?
No, I didn't.
Anyway, the line was forever. Like, to enter the Coliseum, because it was a free-for-all, like whoever's best in, best dressed type of deal. So we attempted to line up, and we said, oh, so is this the end of the line?
Who were you with?
So with Sam and Travis and I think Pat and my brother Matt.
Oh, wow.
So at this point in time, we were like, is this the end of the line? They're like, oh, no, they've just got a break here to let people through. The line starts there, and then anyway, sure enough, you look around the corners.
Oh damn!
So we we figured that we'd just watch it on the big TV outside anyway.
So you see me walk in though on TV?
Yep. No.
Really?
Oh, well, I watched the replay, so it would look real good. But
here I was, like, just, yeah, Shane, look at me!
Yeah. Well, it was rest day. It was rest day, so it was relaxed. But yeah, no, it looked cool. It looked cool. But everyone on the white looked cool. But I think that was also when they announced the swim event.
The swim event, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so that was cool because we were quite surprised originally. Like, there's no swim event on day 1 and 2. Like, this isn't.
Well, we knew it was going to happen. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think that it caught us off guard or anything.
Yeah, so that they announced the Madison triplet.
Yeah, that was cool,
yeah.
and that the board was coming back, which I was like, no.
But
I didn't really want the board coming back because it was just so tippy. Remember back in the day, like in 2015, that board was so tippy in the ocean.
Yeah, it was.
It was like crazy.
That was open sea as well, so
Yeah.
you can see the waves. But yeah, you're right. But it was great to see that, not just from you, but from a lot of the athletes, the
improvement that we had.
improvement.
Yeah.
Hey.
I do remember that was something my mum and dad were really excited about to watch because they both grew up on the beach back at home doing like Ironman and surf life saving and everything, and like I even remember like them giving us tips on like how to do it, and like that was really special as well. Hey,
Yeah, that's good.
it was a special time to share with them. So that was really cool that they actually came back and they were there to experience it. But the battleground, so that was actually a pretty important day. Friday being like a Remembrance Day.
Yeah. So that was, I think
that
was
workout was that workout was quite special, and it also had the obstacle course, which was really cool.
Yeah, so they brought back the obstacle course. So
Yeah.
I'm sure most of us are aware that.
And the athletes had to wear like almost the exact same thing.
Yeah.
So like we had like a black shirt, black pants and a dark green shirt with like our flag on it and everything.
Yeah.
And it was just like something that kind of, it just created a theme. I really liked it.
No, that was good. So then how to play out anyway?
So I think I started quite strong. I was able to pull that dummy pretty good, but I think when I got through, did the rope climbs, that was easy, made really smooth transitions through the obstacle course, but came back to my rope climbs and I got through the first one, which was actually a big fat thick rope. My second one, I was at the top and my shoe fell off.
Oh, that's right.
It got stuck. And like, I'm pretty sure I wasn't the only athlete that had that happen to them.
It happened to another striker.
Because you also were like, Tia, make sure that that doesn't happen to you. Because it happened to one of the guys.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, that would never happen. As soon as I got up onto the rope, it just fell off and I had to jump down, put my shoe on and then quickly run.
Yeah.
But pulling that dummy on that last leg, that was heavy.
Was that?
Yeah.
Well, it looked heavy. It looked very heavy. Well, the first drag looked good, and the second drag is like, whoa, did they just put a heavier vest on that person?
Oh yeah.
But that was good because they brought the obstacle course originally when they did it the year before. It was more of a
sprint.
Yeah, it was a sprint with minimal error would obviously result in a greater result, but the wind and the rain factor and all that. But I'm not going to get into that. But it was just great to see them bring it back in and then have the athletes have another trial at it. And I think you got through all those obstacles. Did you have any trouble? No, I don't believe you did.
No, I didn't have any trouble. It was like super smooth, but I do remember before we went out, because the boys, Matt and Pat, like they fell off the cargo net. Oh. And so that was like pretty scary. We actually didn't know at the time, but Dave came in and he's like, girls, just promise me one thing, that you please be very safe when you're performing like going through the obstacle course. Yeah. Do not jump off the top of the cargo net, because the boys have hurt themselves, and purely out of just, either they're rushing or just silly mistakes. So be very careful. And I mean, it worked well for me. I don't think any girl hurt themselves.
No, I don't. Well, not in your head anyway, but I think there was a small injury what happened in it. But the big thing was though, which obstacle did you find the hardest? Was the one where you sort of do the balancing swing to the balance? Would that be that?
No, if anything, I probably felt like...
Because that looked difficult, and that's where people were getting choked up on it.
Yeah.
But because that
was all about timing.
Did it bottleneck on that event? You know when there was only, like, there's 8 athletes, but 5 lanes?
Oh, there was a couple with those. But I think that the hardest one was probably the monkey bars, and just trying, because you have the weight with the vest, and if you don't have the right timing to swing and pull yourself along, you kind of swing a little longer, and then you have to kind of try and get that connection again.
There you go.
But the other one, it's all about timing. If you swing out and you hit that log at the right time, you got it.
Yeah. Anyway, so that then led into a little break, and then back into the Coliseum, hey?
Yeah.
Coliseum for the clean and jerk speed ladder. Yeah, so how'd that play out? Like, how'd it work?
So basically, I think we had to do, everyone would go through the first round with light barbells. Yep. Then if you had the top 20, top 20, and then the top 10, or was it the top 5? I'm not too sure. Something like that.
I think it was top 5.
But I was so excited for this one. Like, I mean, I love the Coliseum. I love, like, the heavy barbell. That was an exciting thing. And I think that it's such a great spectator event.
Yeah, a little sprint and heavy barbell.
It's so entertaining because anything can happen regardless.
Yeah, so we were pumped when we saw this announced, just knowing, and then seeing the weights, actually, we weren't so pumped.
Yeah, that's right. I do remember
because we were like, yes. And then they announced the weights. Obviously, it meant nothing to us. Then we converted the weights. Like, well, awesome that we still got this, but like we wish it was 10 or 15 pounds heavy for each barbell. Yeah. It was only for Tia's advantage, but
I think it was more so like this is really cool, clean and jerk speed ladder. I don't mind going relatively light for the first couple of ones, but for that last one, I think it's like the 205, 210, 215, 220, 225. By the time like you go through all the clean and jerks, I know it's getting a little heavy, but like let's bring out some weight and let's see how strong we can really get. Yeah.
Yeah, no, because that was cool because
without doing any injuries, of course, but like if you're lifting and you have good technique, you know, you're super secure, there's no excuse.
Yeah. Anything?
Nah, that's it.
Okay, cool. So that resulted in a second place finish?
Yeah. Because
you're on the furthest lane and the lady.
So yeah, we had a few lanes apart from us, and I think if you watch back on the replays, she just was a little more aggressive on the last barbell than I was. So I took my time a little bit, wanted to make sure that I secured it. So I think again it came back to being aggressive. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I think the only point we sort of really talked about was how important transitions were throughout the lift, especially in that middle round. Obviously, the point separator from making the final event to just being shy or just getting caught up in the placing in that middle, or in the second lot of weights would significantly be a big impact, right? So we knew smooth through the rep, fast through the transition was sort of the mentality we wanted to approach that stuff. So with warm up, we warmed up with heavy weights and worked with transitions just so that the stimulus was like, okay, cool. When we get out there, just rip, tear, bust. Yeah. With good technique.
I remember you were always like, fast elbows, fast elbows.
Yeah. The old weightlifting coach coming out here. Miles Wild. Anyway, it led us to the repeat. Fibonacci. And this
I was pretty pumped that this was a repeat.
Yeah, hey, we had a few, this was our nemesis at one point. We made this, we focused a lot of these particular movements throughout the year. They're great movements to train, but
it was more so like executing the workout to my full potential. So last year in 2017, at the end of the games, it was a final event. There was so many raw emotions, but I got so many no reps on my handstand push-ups, and then I stupidly rushed my lunge at the very end. So I felt like I had so much redemption to prove that I could have performed so much better in that workout. And this was my opportunity to do that.
No, I witnessed a lot of this as well, and I agree. I think for me, I guess when I say for me, from a coaching point of view, it's a great test to see the improvement that you have made, and to see you bump up a lot more placings, like to finish this workout or this year in an overall position of 4th. It's such a it's twice as better.
And I think
you finished 7th or 8th.
like 7th or 8th. I think
to finish a lot better in placings already in this event with phenomenal athletes ahead of yourself or throughout the whole field, to finish 4th in that was such a great victory in itself, right? So,
and like my handstand push-ups were a lot smoother. I didn't get any no reps. And my lunge, I mean, I did that unbroken. Like, I know that the workout was done at the end of the weekend. Like, we still had 2 days to go, but I really don't think that played too much into it. I think, honestly, I just was more prepared for it this year.
Yeah, and we understood what was happening there. So that finished Friday.
Yeah.
I'm unsure where we were overall on the leaderboard there, but given the outfit Tia was wearing, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think I was leading then.
Yeah, so that was great. Nothing more to add on Friday, hey?
No, felt good. If anything, I got Fibonacci done. That was like a tick off the list, and it was Madison triplets. Like, so that was something that I knew I could win, and like all I wanted to do was just get my sleep over and done with and just get into it. Yeah,
so I think from what I observed and some of the guys we were with, like your family, and I think that was your mother. Your mum made a comment. She goes, isn't it fascinating when you see all the athletes warm up different particular ways for an event, you know? So it's true. Like when you're watching these guys, that they for all the events really, all the athletes have their own particular routine or way they warm up for events, and it obviously works for them or they do what they do, but it's just fascinating to see how people to warm up. So you get people just doing laps or doing shoulder rotations, obviously getting ready for the swim, and then you've got other people who are just doing ROMWOD, the hour session, just hitting it out there, just stretching. And then we've got the Michael Phelps mentality over here with Tia that just...
I was like, who is that?
With the hoodie up there and just just quiet, just sort of to herself. And for a moment when your mum made that comment, I don't know if that was a hidden message like, hey Shane, what did you tell Tia to do? Because she's doing nothing. So I was like, hey Tia, you good? Yeah, you good? You want some water? You want to have a chat? You good? But anyway, so then when we were confident on what the preparation was for this, like there wasn't no point warming up for like half an hour prior to the event,
well,
right?
I think like they had prepped us, like, I'm about to sneeze, sorry.
Bless you.
So thank you. So like I felt like it was like an hour and a half beforehand.
Yeah.
Where we'd gotten on the bus, like we were all getting ready, and then like it still was some time before we actually were called out. And so like I was just like, okay, just save the energy. And it doesn't matter, like every workout is different. Like we will always work out differently. But this one, like, again, like I knew what I needed to do in order to execute it and ensure that I secured my 100 points. And that's all that mattered. And I was like super confident about it.
Yeah. We felt very confident in this workout. We knew that there was phenomenal, Christian Rose back there again. Hey,
oh yeah.
We knew that there's phenomenal athletes, phenomenal swimmers, phenomenal runners, phenomenal. But we were very confident in your ability, and you were very confident in your ability. And that's, again, coming back to what we can control. And that's right. And like we've talked about it before, anything Tia can control is herself. There's no point getting caught up in the external stresses. But
I was pretty pumped that I beat the boys by like a minute or so, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, that all that data was unknown at that stage.
That's
first,
right.
Hey, so it wasn't like you were chasing down a number.
No.
You and Christy were just chasing down a number. You guys were just
doing our thing,
going off field and just trying to rub each other off, and then it worked out. I mean, you guys smashed them, which was
cool.
Fantastic. Which yeah, it was pretty cool to watch as well. So that was a hard one to spectate for majority of people. So for instance, myself and your family, we were sort of at the entry, got in the car, and then we could only, I sort of did a...
My mum running?
Oh yeah, I do remember that. We won't make a comment on that, but anyway, then and then we had to drop them off, and then we had to, I dropped them off so they could try and make the finish line in time. But then I just sort of put our car away, but yeah, so that was hard to spectate, but a phenomenal one to witness anyway, and for us it was great.
It's so funny because like throughout the workouts where we've actually come off the like where we
the ramp.
Yeah, basically like if we're coming like going for runs, or we're kind of coming off the whole CrossFit Games set area,
or out of the stadium,
out of the arena area, all of a sudden I could be like, go Gia, and I'm like, I think that's my family. And here I am just running, and I'm like, I'm pretty confident it is. And then all of a sudden, like I'll see them and they'll be like running, trying to get to another section so that they can again cheer me on. It is like, I mean, as someone like supporting like a loved one or someone that's competing, or like, you know, spectators at all, like they don't get enough credit for the energy that they put into to actually support us athletes competing, because they're out there all day long, like probably haven't eaten all day. They're super depleted in like nutrition and also water, but they're just so passionate about being out there and cheering us on. And it's just like, if it wasn't for them, man, we wouldn't want to push ourselves to these limits.
Yeah, that's cool, hey?
It's so good.
That's cool. So that resulted in a first place, which is a fantastic result for us. Hey? So I think that was your second first.
Yeah.
For the weekend at this point. So this then led into chaos. So chaos was done. Where was that done?
Oh, that was done on the pad. So it was like on the like what Rogue made. Yeah.
So this consisted of...
That was really cool.
Yeah, so this consisted of the unknown stuff,
yeah.
Right? So this one for warm-up was a fantastic one to warm up.
I remember I came to you and I was like, Shane, we don't know what's going on. Like, they're actually going to take us into this area and like, I won't have any communication whatsoever. And then you're just like, excellent. This is what we want. This is what we've been training for.
Yeah, that's cool. It was awesome to see, because I don't know how we stumbled across this, but we saw that the trends of what Castro was doing, that every so often he would do the isolation. I forget what it was, but he would remove athletes from everything, social media and all that, and he just pretty much put them in an empty room like this, and then he just called out the athletes, boom, go. Yeah. Bring what you think you need, and then go. So anyway, I'm not sure how we warmed up from memory. I think we just did our general preparedness warm up, just sort of just getting the body warm. We just made sure that everything felt great, which you did, and then made sure when you were in the warm up tunnel to keep warm. Yeah. And
you did say to me something about like, just if you have handstand walks, because handstand walks haven't come up, just make sure you touch on that, which I think everyone was.
Yeah, so that's true. But given the space, given the location of the event was sort of a thought to have as well. So for instance, it wasn't a Coliseum event, so therefore the strongman or the space would have been utilized more. We just thought that was going to appear. So sure enough, it was a workout where we didn't know the amount of reps or the calories required. So that just consisted of your judge letting you know what 5 reps ahead. What was that?
No. So basically, like they didn't tell us anything. They just said, you have to ski. Yeah. And you just keep skiing until you reach the number, and they'll watch your monitor and they're like, yep. And then you move forward and you look at your judge and they're like, burpees, touch the red line. And I'm like, okay. And so you go in, you do your burpees, touch the red line. But as you go on, you start to see the athletes that are in front of you, what they're about to perform. So you just got to keep going, and you think, oh, I'm only like 5 reps behind them. So I should only have 5 reps to go. And I know that I've got single overhead dumbbell squats.
Yeah.
And so then that kind of came into it, and then you had your pistols, and then from there they said, okay, Dave wanted to make sure that we had an opportunity to really move if we wanted to
move
at the end of the workout. So he said that the judges can tell us you have 25 jump overs of this box, and then you got to pull this thing to the end and you're done. So like it was just kind of, as soon as they told you that it was just sprint. Go. Yeah, it was just go, go, go. And I loved this workout. Like I must admit, I was so happy how they threw us in this situation, which is fine. It's the CrossFit Games. But they said, look, you will not need your belt. All you would need really is your grips, and you can take them out there. So it wasn't like they just were like, okay,
what would that be?
They at least, I'm not too sure. I'm assuming maybe like the pulling of the thing. I don't know.
Well, they're trying to throw you off, you reckon?
Maybe they could have. I'm not too sure. But like they did say that we could use that, and that was kind of all the information that we were told. But like we finished that chaos workout, and I thought it was the best experience. Like, hey, I didn't win it, but that didn't matter. Like, I know that I did my absolute best, and I just dealt with the situation. And I remember specifically thinking to myself, do not embarrass Shane. Like, only because like this comes back down to the athlete and how hard they're willing to work, right? And in all the other workouts, I had your guidance, I had you helping me with the warm-up. You know, we would talk about our strategy and everything. And I wanted to show you that not only can you do that, but you can also trust in my abilities, that I've learned so much from you over the years that I'm able to actually apply that by myself now.
Well, that's cool. I wouldn't say I was torn, because I just felt very helpless, and I think that was
that's right.
That was very much the case, of the general consensus from a lot of the coaches. You just you want to help. I guess given how many throughout the entire year you're helping, but then there's a particular point in this CrossFit Games where you can't help no longer. It's all on the athlete. You just, I don't know, it just doesn't feel natural at that point in time anyway. So to see you do that, I thought it was a great result. I've always asked, I've always wondered how this actually felt the last event. The equipment pulling that big wheel out, was that?
No, that wasn't heavy. Like,
it was sand or water?
It was sand.
So it was sand.
I can't remember. I think it was sand. So it wasn't moved. Like, it was crazy because it would, like, as soon as you got it moving, then it would slowly move. But you couldn't just, like, you know, with sleds, you can just quickly pull, and if you get some speed, you got to flow. It wasn't like that. You just have to keep pulling, and I really liked it. I didn't think it was too heavy at all.
Okay, cool. No, I thought it was good because it was about 100 foot, wasn't it? So it left just sort of. It looked long. Yeah,
true. Yeah, now that I look back at it, it did, but it didn't feel long.
All right.
Yeah. Let's just say it didn't feel like that Randy pull.
I was just going to say, what would you rather pull?
I would have preferred the tumbler pull.
There you go. Okay, cool. So that wrapped up for Saturday in
kind of mid-morning.
Yeah, so then that actually did leave a bit of space, didn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
For the final event for Saturday night in the Coliseum.
This was really cool.
So by a couple of, it was in the Coliseum. The final events weren't established at that point in time.
Yeah.
But they ended up in the final events.
Wasn't this like
they put it to the crowd?
Yeah, they put this to the crowd, which was really cool.
Yeah, so that was another cool aspect of it, which really drew a lot of attention towards the event. They allowed you to select out of the order of it, hey?
I think so. Yeah. Which workout they wanted first.
So it wasn't a big concern for us. No. The reality was it was consistent anyway. So knowing that all the athletes had to do it the same order. So that's how we felt anyway. So we didn't try to beat ourselves up thinking what we'd prefer, what we would rather, because again, one of these external things wouldn't help us. 2 votes aren't going to change the world. So our strategy, what was?
I think I remember saying to you, Shane, this is the CrossFit Games. I'm just going to go out there and give it my absolute best.
Yep. And then what did someone say in the hallway?
Oh, that's right. So we're like walking back to the the warm up area, and Rich and the team come out and they just did the workout, and Rich was like, break up your snatches to save your forearm grip. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, thanks, Rich. And as we walked in, I was like, nah, I'm just gonna go for it. And I mean, I watched those workouts and I've gone over them, and I'm really happy with how I went, and I just went super aggressive through it, because regardless if I rested or not, I still would have been pretty fatigued come like, you know, the last couple of reps of each workout. Yeah. So like it could have given me a couple of spots, but I placed like 6th and 4th, so they weren't nothing. Like it wasn't shocking placings at all, and I was able to go and see how far I really could go. Yeah,
I thought they were great spectator ones, you know, the traditional CrossFit style workouts, and they were cool to watch. From anything we could gather or look back through the data, or what we saw was that how close, well, given the time frame of each workout being a sub 4 minute workout, right? So it was critical, every second mattered, and we've talked about this post games, or we'll talk about it now, that it really has, it's do or die for the last few seconds of each event. Hey? So for instance, I believe, and looking at this, it was less than 0.5 of a second difference in a placing, 0.05 of a second difference in a placing, and there's almost more points than there was milliseconds. So that was something that we've reinforced, that we enjoy these post-game sort of reviews, so we can analyze what we can do better, and that's going to be something we're going to capitalize for the next season ahead. So that was great. So great learning curve, great result as well. That was a 6th and a 4th finish. It got really spicy towards the end with the chest bars. Like never have we seen so many phenomenal people in one space, breaking down and doing doubles or singles chest bars, right? Or going back to the kipping, rather they just like butterflies out, there goes my forearms, just kipping. It was so funny, like you would see like the guys and girls walking out and they're like racing for the ice, like eskies, and just like smashing their forearms in there just to like try and deload their forearms. It was a really fun event, like those two, and especially how they were so, like you didn't have a lot of rest in between each. You just went and did that straight into the next one. I loved it. Yeah. So they were cool. So they were done pretty early. But I don't know, we kind of left in the back of our head, like, is this it, or is there going to be another event? Is he going to throw something at us? Because that's right. I felt like just the time frame of how everything was playing out. We were just, it was an early night. Yeah, so it was something like that, and we were just we were left wondering if there was more. Having said that, nothing would have changed if there was another event. So you didn't like necessarily go in there. Oh, no way. Go in there half. No, I was like, energy. I love those movements. So I was like, I just want to go for it. And, you know, of course I'm going to take on what you say. And, you know, it was such an honor to obviously have Rich's advice as well. But I got so excited that again, it was like one of those things, I'm at the CrossFit Games. Yeah. I'm going to crush it. You know? That was cool. Yeah, because that was a cool one for display. Hey? So that left us, boom, Saturday night, all wrapped up, done. Yeah. At this particular time, I believe you had... And isn't it funny, like every night we had our little routine. So I'd go in, do the ice bath, then we had like the hot tub, and there was actually some masters athletes that we got to go and chill out with. That was cool. And, you know, just talk about the day, and, you know, like they were just so pumped to even be there. So that was really cool to hear their experiences and how they went throughout the day. Yeah. And then mum was there ready. You were there cooking my meals up. Dad was there trying to, you know, clean everything, keep everything in order. And mum was there ready to give me a massage. And like we had everything set. It was awesome. Felt like we were finally getting a routine. Oh yeah. Which is, I guess they're the cool hidden things what happen when you sort of look back at the weekend, when you're like, oh, there was a cool routine. We started getting a bit of a system in place in order to help each other out. And it was great. I thought that was fun. So as soon as the Buy a Couple event was finished, boom, debrief from that game side of things, we would then pick up our gym bags and take them back. Your mum and dad would already be ready downstairs with some towels for her to jump straight into the hot tub or the cold bath, whatever the decision was at that point in time. Then your mum and dad would shoot up. I'd wait with you. They would shoot up to get prep the bed for some treatment. And then once you went to treatment, I would then get the dinner ready. I think at that night we had the media guys with us too. So we had Hebrew in that there as well. So they were.
Did you guys go out for pizza or something?
I won't go into that, it's not about me. But then we did...
I'm pretty sure that happens all the time. You'll go out and you'll have like pizza or something and like...
It's CrossFit Games, it's paleo. And then that's sort of the system, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then that's what happens. We go through all that and then, you know, you're in bed. Like it sounds more harsh than it is, but I think you're in bed by 10:30 or 11 sometimes. Yeah. But having said,
that's the norm. Like that's when I go to bed anyway.
Well, it's hard to replicate it because the debrief or the brief the next day.
That's early.
Well, sorry, the brief because they sometimes brief the night before of what's happening the day.
That's true.
So that can so that can drag out as well, can't it? So that can sometimes give us. Sorry, the earliest we can leave the venue can be around 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
Sometimes, especially after the initial ice
right. Because after Fibonacci, remember we had the swim event debrief the night before because it was such an early morning session, event. So that's right.
So that's why.
Then we had 2-stroke pull.
Cool. So now we're on Sunday. So final day of the CrossFit Games.
Yeah.
And it started with 2-stroke pull. So this one was great. Like running. We love running. And
it had sled pulls, so like I felt like a little bit
sled pull, with the rope,
I felt like there was a little redemption I needed to make up for in 2016 when it was that workout with the heavy double unders and the machines, and then we had the sled pull at the end. Now that was back in 2016. And I felt like I could have done better than what I'd placed back then. Mm-hmm. So this workout was like me kind of, even though it was a completely different workout, it was me wanting to be like, hey, I can sled pull, you know? Yeah. So I remember that. And then also the assault bike that everyone says, like for smaller athletes, you're not as strong on the machines and everything. But I wanted to kind of stamp my ground and be like, no. Like, I still can do quite well. So I really liked that workout. It was tough though, like for 5 rounds, that heat, I didn't even think that it was that hot, but after that workout, it was pretty hot.
Yeah, it was a hot day from a spectator's point of view, but we won't get into that. But what was I going to say? Probably the biggest thing in this one was what's probably hard to, at this point in time, again, we didn't know how many events were ahead. When you sort of draft up the weekend, you think there'd be 2-3 workouts in the final day, but you can't help but think there might be another event making 4 events. So
that's right, because we only knew that was the only event for the day.
So this makes it a bit interesting, hey. So this is when we start analyzing. Well, this is when we start going in an overdrive, thinking about predicting what's going to happen ahead, what movements haven't been done.
This is what where you start thinking. I don't think very much. I just do.
So this is when you start. When you start getting. So let's put it back this way. So back at the end of Saturday night, there was myself, Sam, Travis, and your father. We were all we gathered together. And then we started nerding out on all the data already laid out in front of us. So my big thing was my big thing is what movements haven't been done, what would possibly show up, right? I'm not too concerned with weight because I feel prepared in a lot of those ways. But another thing is how many events can show up and how many points are available. So for us, we looked so the big thing was okay, so this is how many points we have at the moment, like the lead buffer. What do we need to average in order to be in a great position? This is from a coaching point of view, not from an athlete side of view. Well, how many points do we need to average in order to have the great result we were after? So that's what we started playing around with and working those numbers out there, bringing out the old calculators. But then they're things that we think about leading to the final day. So when Tia got, after 2 straight pull, when the placing came down to be 7th, for an event like that, that's a very good result. Phenomenal athletes ahead of herself. So 7th was great. I know what the next 2 events were as well. So that buffer, so that placing was a great result. Like that fit in our ballpark figure. So the next event was the
handstand walk.
So you want to tell them about that?
Yeah. So I think there was a little mixed emotions with that one, only because I was like, this is cool. Like, we've never seen this before with parallel, like walking on the bars. But can I even do that? So like in my head, I was like, I don't even know if I can do that, let alone try and make sure that I place and don't stuff up my, my placing. Yeah.
So you were concerned about placings?
It was more so the fact that I was like, what if I can't walk on those bars?
Yes. Reality is if you can't finish the movement, it's not a great finish.
No. So that was, and like I knew it would affect my placing.
Yeah. So because we talk about a lot, we always say that you can win it. You mean you can't?
Oh yeah. You say it better.
You say it best.
No, you say it best. Okay.
But I don't forget about it, or maybe prompt you later. But
no. Oh, what is it? It's like you can you can't win the CrossFit Games through one event, but you can lose the CrossFit Games with one event.
Yeah, so we sort of use that as a big guide.
Yeah.
Big, not big, but it's in the back of our mind that consistency will trump, a great result. Yeah. And that's sort of the mentality I think we sort of approach a lot of it as well. But with the handstand walk, did you explain that you never got to try this out, like in the warm-up periods?
No, like the only time that I could even figure out whether or not I could do something like that was literally 3, 2, 1, go. And I was like, okay, challenge accepted. Yeah.
So that was massive because of what? There was a fraction of time left. I think there was like a 6-minute time cap, something very small that only allowed you guys.
Oh yeah, that's so true. I think it was like,
minutes?
Yeah, it was only 4 minutes. Was it?
I don't know, but I guess what
there was like, it was a really tiny time cap. So I was like, 1, I could potentially get time cap. 2, I could potentially not even finish this.
Because the time cap meant something, because it would go back to how fast you completed what?
That's right. I think it was like when you came down off the obstacle prior to the ramp and the bars. Yeah. But the thing is like one of my goals is to complete every single workout. Yeah. So like if I didn't complete a workout, like I wouldn't be satisfied regardless of my placing.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's a big thing Tia prides herself on as well. Like obviously the overall goal is to win the CrossFit Games, but you have secondary and tertiary goals, or you have secondary goals that lie underneath that. And one of them was to finish all the workouts. Tia has this thing that if she doesn't finish all the workouts, then she can't have that full completion of feeling like she is the real winner. Yeah. Because everything was thrown at her for test-wise, she couldn't complete, so she feels like it's not a real representation of what she deserves. This is what she believes, and this is, again, what she believes is not how it obviously works out in the point system-wise. But anyway, it felt like forever when you got to this obstacle, and then it just felt like, you felt like you were there forever, and then I felt like time was running out very quick. Knowing what was going on in the back of everything of my mind, I was like, dude, we gotta move. Your learning curve better hurry up now. We better kick in because we need to get over this line. And then sure enough, boom, you got it. You finished. Yeah. Awesome result for someone who learned how to handstand walk through CrossFit from where we were.
Oh, I couldn't even walk a meter.
Yeah. So remember the first regionals?
Oh, what was it? It was like 2014. I think it was max meters on your hands, and I got less than a meter. No, that's right. You had a buffer, so it was like a meter, And as soon as you got past that line, then you got it.
Free for all, yeah.
I got past that line, but like one hand over the line and I was done. So I didn't even get a meter.
And we were chuffed. We were stoked.
Oh yeah,
that
I was like,
result. Winning.
Killing it.
Yeah, so we were stoked back in 2014. So see the progression of not just you, but all the athletes.
Yeah.
Hey, to go to that point.
I don't know. Expectations are just, you know, they're advancing, which is fantastic.
Yeah, well, the benchmark of it all. Hey, so that was a great. That was a great result for Tia and achievement as a personal.
Yeah, I was really happy with that.
From back to what I was saying about Saturday night, doing some of the logistics with some of the friends, it wasn't exactly what we were after. But again, once you start going through all of this, you start playing the field as well. So I'm conscious of what's going on with the other athletes. It's not for Tia to know. Well, it doesn't help.
I have no idea what's going on with the other athletes.
So it doesn't help with her knowing this, but like you start thinking about where the other athletes ranked, and then their points accumulated, and then you start sort of updating your data, going, okay, cool. So they placed this. Tia placed here, cool. So that she didn't get where I wanted. However, the other person finished there, or she did this, or this other person finished higher than both of them, which sort of breaks up the points. Great. Anyway, from that data, you sort of then look forward and see what we've got to play with. And I think after handstand walks, did we know the final thing?
We did, because the handstand walks were actually announced with the other one. So this next one, the final event, I was just like chuffed. I was like, show me the money. Yeah, well, not literally. We were like, show me the money, literally. Like, I was so happy about this. Oh, okay. But the money? Oh no, but you know, that's the expression. You know, like I love pegboards, I love thrusters, and I love yokes. Yeah, so that was cool. What was I going to say? Yeah, so since we knew this was a final event, since it got announced that it was a final event, and another thing is that, you know, the presentation through the app says that it's at 3 p.m. or whatever it is. You kind of know, okay, cool. Castro's running out of time. You can't do another event this time. So we knew that this was going to be it, and not that we would do much differently, but it's just sort of a reassurance for myself. Tia knew that this was going to be all it. And I think, was there a short turnaround? I'm pretty sure there was a pretty short turnaround in all of this. So, but a few things, what was sort of leading into this point was, I guess last year, that one of the things was that the victory was coming down to 2 points, right? Winning's winning for me. Like winning's winning, right? Doesn't matter how much you win. You can watch Fast and Furious. My boys will tell you about that. But this one was sort of like, hey, if there was any cloud or any judgment saying that, hey, only 2 points, like no, like. We wanted to stamp our ground and for the world to know that I was the fittest on earth. Yeah, there was no question or any judgment between us. And that was, I guess, the other objective, secondary objective. At this point in time, Tia knew that, hey, like all we said was point-wise, that, hey, if you finish well, you'll get what you deserve. And then you would refuse to let me actually look at where I was placing. So I didn't even know. Yeah. I just knew that I was the leader, but I didn't know how long by because I had to wear the jersey. Yeah, so the jersey gives it off, obviously. But Matt O'Keefe, though. Oh, that's right. So you tell her, because I was semi-present for it all. So basically, coming into the last workout, Matt was obviously very confident in his position. So Matt Fraser, was very confident in his position, and we were kind of crossing paths. And his friend and manager Matt O'Keefe, who is well known in the CrossFit community, he comes up to me and like pats me on the back. He's like, "Good job, like well done, like solid win." And I was like, "What?" And I didn't even realize, like, I don't even remember how my face was, but I was like, yeah, but it's not over. And he's like, yeah, but you kind of secured your win. And he's like, I'm like, yeah, but it's not over until the fat lady sings. And he even to this day still apologizes for like coming up and saying that even after like competition was like, you know, wasn't over.
Because his big thing, his concern was that
he jinxed me.
Or jinxed, or he just like
got in my head or something.
Yeah, just broke your concentration.
Yeah.
So he was like really concerned about that, and then that was sort of.
It was funny because like no one is going to break my concentration. Like I feel like it's, you know, people can say things to me, but I wouldn't really take it on board unless I really need to, right? And, you know, I just thought it was actually quite funny because I know he meant he meant good by it, and he's actually genuinely congratulating us.
Yeah. But
he felt so bad, and we kind of joke about it now and just, you know, make fun of him a little bit.
Yeah. So let's just quickly go through this. Like I'm sure we'll go on depth later. So once you got to the farmer's carry, you completed that. Like how did you feel?
Well, yeah, no, it felt good. Like I think, so I know in training, like I can do pegboards, like touch and go, but I think what we actually made point of not going and doing unbroken pegboards purely because of the volume that we've done all week, and we didn't want to fatigue. So I got through my pegboards, did singles, and I went on to my thrusters, but remember I got pulled back to put my marker up.
Yeah.
So that kind of, you know, slowed me down by a couple of seconds. Then I made it up in the thrusters, got onto the yoke first, and managed to go through. Now the weight wasn't heavy for the yoke. It just, on the last section, because Laura and I were neck and neck and I was trying to race her, I didn't have my core braced enough, and I clipped, I don't even remember how it happened, but because I was racing and I was trying to go faster, my feet couldn't keep up with the weight, and like I fumbled just before the line. And that was another potential first that is just super frustrating. But I mean, it went to Laura, and you know, she's such a phenomenal athlete. Like she deserved the win. So that's just something that I was just like, damn it, I really wanted that one, but you know, I wanted to finish off with the first.
Yeah, that's true. I think it really came down to, more for the ladies, not for the men, it really came down to the transition of putting those plates on as well.
Yeah,
like
that's true.
That was a weird twist. What was sort of, you'd probably never anticipated, was that, hey, if I put these plates on, that would be a big impact on my placing. Like, because it wasn't the weight, it was just had to put 4 plates on every 20 yards or 15 yards.
The weight was not a problem. And I mean, we didn't even have yokes out the back to even practice on, so we didn't really know how heavy it was going to be.
Because everyone was just front squatting, like doing front squat, rack carrying with the barbells, loading them up, walking with them, putting it down.
And I feel like that's a lot of what the games is. Like, you don't actually get to touch the equipment.
Yeah.
Except for like the barbell, or, you know, there's a pull-up rig. But you don't actually get to touch equipment until you're out on the floor. And so that's like a little nerve-wracking as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that plays on a lot of people's, like, the not knowing the stimulus it would accurately be when you're using that equipment. What's probably impressive is to see how many people improvise to make the equipment up, eh?
Yeah, and I mean, we're competing as individuals, but we're actually, everyone's like doing it together. So we're like, oh, do you think that that's the weight? Yeah, I think so. And, you know, like, you know, some people will come up with trying to do like the handstand walking on dumbbells, and we'll be like, yeah, okay, yeah, we'll jump on that too. It's just, it's such a great energy back in the warm-up area that, like, everyone's friends, but come on the competition, you know, like, we're out for blood kind of thing.
Yeah, that's true. But I think, so when you finish the event though, like, let's finish Sunday off with the bang.
Yeah.
We just finished the final event.
Yeah. And
how did it feel? Like, where are we at with it all?
It was obviously, it was super different to the year before. Like, the year before, I didn't even know that I won. So this year I knew that I had won significantly. And like I was definitely so proud, especially to be able to back up a title. Like that was definitely something that I've been working towards all season. But I kind of have a feeling that, like, you know, that's not it. That's not the end. Like I still have so much more that I want to achieve. And this was just a part of the process. But what was really cool was, for the very first time this year, my mum and dad were in the crowd. And as soon as I was announced, all I wanted to do was just run up and just give them the biggest hug. Because in previous years, the reason they haven't come was because I actually refused to let them come.
Wow.
Only because I think for me, it was more like Shane and I, we had a job to do. And the first 2 years I came second. And I didn't want to have any distractions. I wanted it just to simply be like Shane and myself just doing our thing. And I was nervous that if I had family, friends surrounding me, as much as it's really good, I thought maybe I would get distracted and my #1 goal would never be achieved.
Yeah.
So once I got first in 2017, there was a little less pressure that I was putting on myself, and
it was putting more pressure on yourself.
Well, I had put so much pressure on myself leading into 2017 because I never wanted to face the fact that I was only a second horse. Like I wanted to be the world champion, and I wanted to know that I had what it took to be the best in the world. So I didn't want any distractions whatsoever. Going into 2018, I knew that I was #1 and that I was repeating my title.
Defending.
And, you know, like I wanted to make sure that, like, I was like, yeah, guys, like, I know I need your help. Like, you know, you can't, yes, it's an individual sport, but you can't do it without your team. You can't do it without your supporters. So I didn't have the pressure that, you know, I didn't feel like I was going to have any distractions if they were there. If anything, they were actually going to help us. And I knew that. And I mean, it, like, you could clearly see how much more it helped us throughout the week, even to give you a bit of a break so that you didn't have to massage me throughout the weekend, you know. It was just small things like that. And having them there for the first time was just something really special. And I feel bad for not allowing them to come previous years, but I felt like that was just something that I needed to do in order to win for the first time.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Well, that really concludes it all, really. Hey.
Cool.
Thank you for joining, and
we hope you enjoyed our debrief of the 2018 CrossFit Games.